Welcome to Kent, Ohio, and Dick Stadium, home to the Golden Flashes of Kent State. And while to some it may seem like a small blip across the college football landscape, this place has been the home to legends like Lambert, Edelman, James, Holtz, and of course, Saban. What a matchup we have in store. It's still early in the season, but this is a major test for a couple of squads who've gotten out of the gate undefeated. As we'll see, the winners of 3 straight, the Florida State Seminoles, taking on a fellow ACC opponent, the Kent State Golden Flashes. For EA Sports College Football, Reese Davis with you alongside David Pollack and Jesse Palmer. Time to get this game started. And the Seminoles will put toe to leather and we'll get started. And he'll just take a knee, and this drive will start at the 25. Quarterback and running back set up in the pistol. Offense changing the play. Off the play fake on first down to throw. Unloads to the wideout. A strike downfield. They'll get the first down. It's spotted on the 49.
Well, this offense knew coming into this game they wanted to try to attack the middle of the field in the passing game, and they're able to execute the in route there.
Took just one play, and they got it almost to midfield. First down from the 49. Here's the give off the left side. Able to scrounge 3 yards out of that one somehow. It's 2nd and 7. Guys, this is a team that struggled mightily last year, and the entire offseason was built around performing better in ACC play.
Well, they just didn't have the dudes to get it done last year. Didn't have enough talent. But they're a year older. They've gone to the transfer portal. They've done a good job recruiting from the high school ranks. And, David, they think this year they've got the guy.
It's a running room. Good, solid pickup there. Now they can start to smell it with a first down at the 31. They've done a really good job identifying mismatches, and they find one out of the backfield there.
Reese, I really don't think it's that hard. My guy is better than yours. Find the matchup across the field. Running back's got some speed. Get it in his hands quickly. Throw it to him fast. Let him make somebody miss against a slower guy that's usually a linebacker.
He'll throw it. Catch in the middle. It's Martin. Hard-hitting tackle.
That's really nice fundamentals by a right-handed quarterback, going to his left, getting the shoulder turned and the hips around, helping him make a very accurate throw.
The Golden Flashes can play this second down a lot of ways with just a few yards to go. Stop is made almost immediately. Give him 1 to the 23. And the Golden Flashes are at the line looking to convert on 3rd and short. They'll try to get the first through the air. Got out of trouble and throws. And that's incomplete. A defender all over him. Knocked the ball to the ground. 4th down coming up.
Got to give the defense credit on that play, taking everything away, forcing the incompletion. Now it's decision time. 4th and short, and you're in field goal range. What do you do here?
And so on their opening drive of the game, they want to stay on the field, and the offense will go for it on 4th down. Big tight end makes the grab. First down, still on his feet. And he motors into the end zone. Touchdown, Kent State.
And this offense just made their first statement, the first drive. 4th down. What are we going to do? We're going to be aggressive. Not only that, they get the touchdown. They're rewarded. What a hot start for this offense.
Kent State 7, Florida State 0.
And he takes this from inside the 5. Makes a move. He's on the loose. Can they catch him? They won't get him. It's a touchdown. He is a field-flipping machine. Taking on one end, return it to the other.
And now you get to celebrate. What a beautiful job. We always talk about defense. We always talk about offense. But, man, when your special teams come through for you and score, it is huge, and it provides such a boost for the crowd.
And he made the extra point without problem. So a dynamite play there. 99 yards. He took it back for the touchdown. The kickoff unit is out there, and boy, did that last drive quiet this crowd. Fair catch, called for and made. They'll put this one in play. First snap of the drive from the 25. Wide receiver going in motion. They'll come out on this drive and let it rip. Using his legs to buy some time. Makes the grab. It's Clark. And just a short, safe pass play. They pick up a few.
And I think you're seeing these guys in every offense now. These littler guys that they're so quick, it's hard to get a hand on them. Run crisp routes. You can throw it short, you can throw it long, but they're just big-time playmakers. You've definitely seen an emphasis shift towards smaller wide receivers with some serious skill.
They'll go to work in the air on second down. Bought a little time, lets it go. And the pass is incomplete, jarred loose by the hit.
Well, that's just a great play by the defender and great timing. It was the hit that forced that incompletion.
Ball's at the 29. Defense can taste getting off the field. It's 3rd and long. Here's the snap, ready to cut one loose. Bought a little time, lets it go. Makes the catch, it's Etheridge. And boy, is he close to that first down, maybe just a couple of inches short. Just not able to shake enough defenders and comes up a little bit short.
And I think a lot of times on 3rd down, Reese, you bet on your guy. When you're an offensive guy, you say, okay, he's going to break a tackle, he's going to get north and south and somehow get the first down. Nice tackling by the defense, understanding where they had to get to and forcing the 4th down.
Man, when I was at Florida, Steve Spurrier would wait for this opportunity in a game 4th and inches, and he'd signal in Red Snoopy. Quarterback sneak. It works every time.
The Golden Flashes getting set on 1st and 10. Motion from the back. Leaves it with the back. And they picked up 9 on 1st down. It'll bring up 2nd and short.
Coaches always harp about staying ahead of the chains, and when you can run with that type of efficiency on 1st down, man, you are doing just that.
And the Golden Flashes can really attack on this 2nd and short. On the move, it's Newman. And they'll pick up the 1st down and mark it at the 47.
Well, it's an offense that prides themselves on being physical. No mystery there. You need 1 yard, turn around, hand it off, let them go to work.
The Golden Flashes are on the move. Quarterback may change this route. Looking downfield on 1st down. On the run, still looking. Grabbed over the middle. It's Martin. And he's brought down after a nice gain.
And I love the awareness by the wide receiver on that play because I'm not sure that route was supposed to be that deep. You got to wonder if the receiver decided maybe to adjust the route a little bit to make sure that he got the 1st down.
And every offense has plays that they really hang their hat on. And back in 1970, it was the toss. The toss play used to be the thing. You don't see as much of this nowadays. It's early in the game. Maybe it's something you wanted to show. Or, listen, maybe defensively this is something you need to start focusing on.
After the 3-yard pickup, they come to the line, 2nd and 7. Back in motion, try to clear the picture. Wants to fire on 2nd down. Makes the grab. It's Garcia. And a good job in coverage there as they stop it after just a few. They were able to make the completion, but he had to pick his way for just a little bit. Needed a little more help to spring him for some yardage.
Yeah, if you're going to have success when you throw it outside like that, you're going to need some more blocking and better blocking downfield. Give the defense credit, though. They were able to rally and made a tackle.
They thought they could just run it on 3rd and short, but this defense was there to make the stop. They don't seem comfortable with the 50-yard field goal attempt, so they'll leave the offense out to try to get the 1st down.
42 Spider.
That's the end of the first quarter, with the score tied at 7.
They'll pass on the 50-yard field goal try and instead try to pick up the 1st down here on 4th. The snap sets up to throw. It's dropped, and oh, what a tough way to end this drive. The decision to go for it does not pan out.
Man, sometimes the best defense is getting a little bit lucky. He was open. He had a chance to make a play. He just drops it through his hand. It was pretty good defense, but you take those breaks when you can get them.
Quarterback will keep it. You'll take 4 yards on 1st down every time, 2nd and 6. The Noles want to crank the tempo.
A nice job being gap sound by this defense. And here you go. Watch what this offense does. They'll get right back on the ball, and they'll go really quick, so you got to be prepared.
He'll get rid of it. Wide open downfield. At the 35, he's got room. Seizing that open space, an opportunity all the way inside the red zone. They'll mark it at the 19.
Love the individual effort by the wide receiver after the catch, making people miss, showing you the speed. Now he set up his offense down in the red zone.
They keep count of their number of explosive plays, and that last one has them set up 1st and 10 at the 19. And a really nice run and pick up there before the defense avoided disaster and stopped the really big play.
1st down, you know you always want to establish the running game. How about this offense? Nothing fancy. Run the football, be physical, get a big gain.
Sends it back in motion. Relentless, tough running gets it down to the 4. Now the offense tries to punch it in on 2nd and goal. He steps and powers and works his way. They finally get him down at the 2.
And with the stuff there, Jesse, on 2nd down, this little 3rd to mid-range, you got 2 downs. What are you thinking here?
Maybe getting your quarterback out on the perimeter and giving him a run-pass option. See if you can get the defense in a bind.
They'll turn to the Wildcat to keep this drive alive. On the direct snap, it's Lucas. And he runs it in for the score. Touchdown, Noles! They'll try to tack one more on their score.
And how about this offensive line? 3rd and goal, you gotta have it. They flew off of the ball. They got some push. They made that easy on their running back to score that touchdown.
14, Kent State, 7.
Not going to risk a return here. He'll make the fair catch. 25-yard line. Off the play fake on first down. With the catch, it's Garcia. He's brought down quickly. Minimal gain there, still a bit short of the first down. I don't know why, but it's a thing. The ACC Wheel of Destiny, you spin it, you never know how it's going to come up, and you can't afford to give away a game early in a conference like this.
And I think both of these coaching staffs, David, understand that, and they've been preaching to their team, we've got to start fast. Not just in this game. We've got to start the season fast. We've got to take advantage of this opportunity.
And I think Reese hit it right on the head, too. The Wheel of Destiny, right? It seems like it's a new team every year that's playing in the championship and appears to be a wide-open league, so a lot of turmoil.
Picked off! What a play by this defense! Just a short return, but that would have been icing on the cake. They've got it first down at the 42. All right, guys, here comes the Florida State offense onto the field. Leaves it with the running back. Plows through the defense. He had all kinds of company as soon as he got it. He had to fight his way back just to get to the line of scrimmage.
That's a great individual play, and I love cornerbacks that don't just take pride in covering guys. I like guys that like to put their face in the fan and affect the running game. This dude is physical, and he impacts the defense because of that.
And those guys are really hard to find. A lot of corners, they're smaller. They don't want any part of the physical run game. Nice job sticking his face in there, setting the edge, making the tackle.
Gain of 2. Third down coming.
It'll be third and long. Tight end now in motion. And the Heat gets home. They knock him down back at the 45.
Great job by the defense, understanding what they were seeing. They played the read game beautifully, strung it out. The quarterback continues to drift to his left. No space to get through. Tackle for a loss for this defense.
On fourth down, looking for the completion. Oh, he's going to take a shot at the DB. Oh, he dropped it. Just didn't look it all the way in, and they'll turn it over on downs. Desperately wanted to convert on fourth down, but couldn't do it. No reason to be in a big rush. They have some time here late in the half. He wants to change this route. Wants to go up top on first down. Forced out of the pocket. Couldn't find anybody to throw to. He'll just toss it away. It'll be second down.
A nice job by the quarterback there. You're outside the pocket. Nobody's open, so you throw the ball away knowing that you still have more chances to get this first down.
Back to pass on second down. That's reeled in. It's Martin. And he's able to shed one tackle and gets a pretty good pickup. Down to 2 minutes to play. We'll take the timeout. They'll talk it over. A chance to tie or even take the lead before the break. And the Golden Flashes are at the line trying to move the sticks on third and short. On third and short, trying to impose their will and move the chains. He's got first down yardage as they move it to the 44.
You got to have short area quickness. That running back there doing what it takes to make sure he got that first down.
The Golden Flashes have it with a 1st and 10. The throw. Picked off, and they ruin an early drive with the turnover. He'll try to take it back. 10. Touchdown, Florida State. The defense gets it done with that huge interception return. Look, I know it's only the second quarter, but we're starting to see a pretty significant gap develop between these two teams right now.
No doubt. When your defense is scoring, your offense is scoring, good things happening for your ball club. This defense on point, reading their scouting report, making big plays.
No return coming. He'll call for the fair catch. time left in the half here as they take over, but they will want to be efficient here in the final 2 minutes. He'll try the left side. Bulldozes his way through. Big play in the running game, and they get him out of bounds right at the 50-yard line.
Well, there's the offense trying to take advantage of this running back speed. I like the call. Hand off to the left, to the outside. Put him in space and let him go to work.
They'll send the back in motion. Off the play fake on first down, wants to throw. Makes the catch. It's Clark. They'll ride him out of bounds after the good pickup, spotted at the 25-yard line.
This is a very tough slot receiver to cover if you're a linebacker because of how quick and how shifty he is. You never seem to know which way he's going, and he always seems to create an open space for his QB.
Looking to scramble. And he just chucks it into the fourth row.
And with that incompletion, man, this crowd, I don't know that they are really happy about what's going on. I mean, they already built a deficit, and they don't have a lot to cheer about. They got to get some kind of rhythm, something going on this offense to ignite this fan base.
Got it in the middle. It's Martin. Hauled down, but they'll move the sticks as he picks up the first down.
Yeah, and that was tough on the DB, right? He's trying to cover the receiver on a drag route, running back over the middle of the field. You're trying to avoid all the linebackers, all the congestion. He just couldn't stay with them long enough, and as a result, fresh set of downs for the offense.
It's hard to run on a defense that comes off the ball like that and runs to the football like that. Good luck. No holes anywhere.
Defense rose up deep in its own end on that last play. Now a 2nd and long coming. Back to pass. Under fire. He pushes it forward all the way to the 2-yard line. Here's a timeout on the field. Tight game here late in the first half. Time dwindling away as they try to put points on the board right before the half. Blasted as he lets it go. It is incomplete, and he almost had himself an interception in the end zone. It'll be 4th down.
3rd and short, I have no problem with RPO because I can run it or I can throw it if I see something opening. Maybe he should have ran that one. You got 2 downs possibly to still try to make it happen, but he definitely didn't throw an accurate ball.
Fourth and goal from the 2. Can they finish this drive? He's looking to pass. Hauls it in, the first down and more. And he's going to take it into the end zone. Touchdown, Golden Flashes.
Man, that was beautiful clock management. Great job by this offense, sustaining the drive, not getting too much in a panic, and finishing the drive with a touchdown with not a lot of time on the clock.
Penn State, 14.
He'll bring it out. It's Lucas. I know he thinks he can house every return, but sometimes you just have to take a knee as he stopped at the 14. Final seconds of the first half. Let's see if they can pull off a little magic. Gonna run it. It's Holmes. Shut down in the backfield again, and that might do it here in the half. And what a way for this defense to wind up the quarter. They'll have just enough time to get one more snap before the half. The play action fake. Moving out of the pocket. He'll try to do it himself. They'll knock him down, and that'll take us to halftime. That's going to wrap up the first half here. And now we join Kevin with the halftime update.
Florida State, 21. Penn State, 14.
And the Golden Flashes will kick it away first, and we'll start the second half. Fielded in the end zone, it's Lucas. Gets it across the 20 to the 21, and not quite what he would have picked up just taking the touchback. They come to the line for the first play of the drive, snapping it from the 21. first play from scrimmage, and they'll keep it on the ground. Oh, better look out. He's loose. It's a seam wide open. And that tackle almost certainly saved a touchdown after he ripped off a huge gain.
How about the explosive play by this offense? Man, it's so nice to have guys you can hand the football off and just watch him work. Watch him do the rest, the speed, making big plays, breaking tackles. Man, is it nice to have an offense with a playmaker like that.
Well, it's important in this game this offense gets the running back involved out on the perimeter in space where he can do some damage. That time they got it to him throwing the football. He picked up a couple of yards, but it gives the defense something to think about.
Right there to stop him, and that'll be a loss of 3. It's a makeable field goal from the 29-yard line. Let's see how aggressive they are on 3rd and long. Looking downfield, it's Castellanos. Under fire. Just too much heat that time, and they knock him down at the 31.
3rd and long situation, we're bringing an extra DB on the field. We're telling our front guys to pin your ears back and go get the QB, and they get the job done.
They fake it, and he's on the run. And they're not going to pick up the first down on the fake field goal. Boy, you look smart when it works out, but when it goes awry, you are left to second-guess yourself. First play of the drive comes from the 41. They'll run it from the gun. We'll give him a couple on that one. 2nd and 8 coming up. Tried to pound it on 1st down. Now back to the line. 2nd down, they'll go to the air. Quarterback moving. Fires on the move. Got his man downfield. They finally get to him. But what a play there to pick up the 1st down.
And this defense is going to have their hands full because they're going to need to be comfortable with guys one-on-one on islands in the perimeter of the field. And they're just going to have to make better plays than what we saw right there. They knew this offense was going to try to be aggressive. Got to need better effort in the back end for this defense moving forward.
Backed up now. Here's 2nd and long. Wide receiver comes in motion. They'll go back to the air on 2nd down. Trying to get rid of it. Nothing doing downfield. He'll cut his losses and throw it away. It'll be 3rd down.
And we need more of this from this defense, man. They have let this guy have too much time to throw the football. They haven't gotten that jersey dirty yet, haven't sacked him. But this is just as good as a sack. Getting to him, hitting him, letting him feel the physicality of this game, and not letting him feel comfortable.
Nifty little scamper on this one. Enough for the 1st down, and he slides in safely.
Yeah, I think you're just seeing the experience this guy has, right? He's so poised that initially he's flushed out of the pocket, nothing's open, and he doesn't panic. He's not throwing it away. He's not sliding early. He just knows where the defense isn't, and he's able to attack that space with his speed and get a positive play.
Defense is about firing off, hitting the offensive guys and staying in their gaps, everybody knowing where they're supposed to be. You could tell the defense, everyone was right where they're supposed to be, nowhere to run.
Going to sling it on 2nd down. Starting to feel a little pressure. He just threw that one away. Nobody was getting open. He had to live to fight another play in the red zone. It'll be 3rd down.
Know the situation, know the game of football, right? When I start to get outside the pocket, I don't see anything there. I can throw the ball away. I don't have to take a sack, get a lost yardage play. I can just throw the ball out of bounds as long as it...
Touchdown, Kent State! Made the grab in the end zone for the score.
And these are the plays that you look back on tape, and everybody's like, nice work, nice toughness, QB. Just stand in there, know you're going to get blasted, and hold on to the ball until the guy comes open, feed him, and get the 6.
this one away.
Coming out with it, it's Lucas. Gets it across the 20 to the 21, and not quite what he would have picked up just taking the touchback. They'd love to put a long drive together here as they start from their own 21. Motion from the wide receiver. Back to throw, it's Castellanos. And the physical play there forces the incompletion on first down.
Love the physicality of this secondary on defense. That defender got to the football, was able to separate the receiver from the ball, and did it legally. Beautiful job.
Fires to the right. Makes the grab. He goes out of bounds, maybe a step shy of the 40. They're going to mark it at the 39, and a really nice pickup there.
Well, nice job hauling that pass in. I'll tell you, he keeps defenses on their heels. He really does. His speed is so scary. And I think back to my days in college. We used to play against the Seminoles when they had Peter Warwick and Lavernius Coles. And because of their game-breaking ability, it put so much pressure on our defense. I'll tell you, this guy's good enough to, I think, have played on that Seminole offense. And he would have gotten some looks. This guy can make some plays.
The Seminoles will hustle to the line. They've built this offense around finding mismatches and just get the ball to the back and let him do his thing.
Yeah, it didn't have to be long down the field. Like it threw it right near the line of scrimmage, but you know I got a guy.
There he goes. Touchdown Seminoles. And with that one, they jump on top here in the second half.
One of the reasons this offense is so exciting to watch, they've got guys that are dangerous after the catch. And if this quarterback gets through his progression, David, hits you in stride, these guys will take it to the house.
Man, it's your job to do the rest, right? You hit me in stride where I don't have to stop running. I don't have to break down. It makes it so easy. The connection between quarterback, wide receiver, you can tell this is a good one, and that's why they got 6 on that play.
They'll put this one in play. First snap of the drive from the 25. Gets the back moving. Trying to turn the corner on the left. A collision, and he stopped at the 27 after picking up 1.
Another tough run for this offense, and I think a big reason why they're down on the scoreboard right now is they just haven't been able to get this guy going. They've tried to give him the ball a lot. It just hasn't paid off, but you get the feeling, too, if they are going to crawl back in this one, they need him to break one off, and it just takes one play for this guy. Don't be impatient. You got to keep giving him the football.
Yeah, when you get that man coverage, most people are taught to have inside leverage, so that out route's there if your QB can put some air on it and throw it outside of the guy, but tight coverage, but a really nice throw on that out route.
Grab near the sticks. It's Clark. Ridden out of bounds at the 45. A big play for this offense.
Well, this guy's having a day. It doesn't matter where he's lined up or what routes he's running. He just seems to always be getting open, and his quarterback is taking notice. He's looking his way. Nice job there, throwing in time, getting it to him in space and allowing him to go to work. This is turning into a very nice statistical day for this wide receiver.
Offenses should focus on their guys and making sure so-and-so guys get so-and-so touches. And, you know, listen, they're featuring this guy. They're going to throw it to him. He's going to be the primary target on a lot of times. I can't be reckless, but I definitely have to find my way to get that guy the ball.
Plenty of distance between them and the sticks here on second down. Linebackers shuffling around, trying to keep the quarterback from getting a read. They'll leave it with their own back. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. They've got to come up with a big play on this 3rd and long.
42 Spider.
Might be calling a hot route. Moves around to clear up the vision. Got a man. It's Martin. He'll be stopped short of the line to gain. Needed about 3 more on that one.
Offense facing 4th down.
This offense will try to convert on 4th down for the 5th time. The defense has come up with just one stop so far. And he throws his 3rd pick of the day. His head has to be spinning. Trying to take it back. And he was weaving his way and finally brought down around the 23-yard line.
And this guy's showing off his hands again, understanding where the football's going. He breaks on the football so quick. And guess what? He makes plays when he breaks on it. That's 2 interceptions here through 3 quarters of a football game.
Guys, here comes that Florida State offense back onto the field. Took the last drive in for a touchdown. They'll try to do it again on this one. Didn't pick up a lot there. Moved it forward just a few. As they get set to snap it, time winding down here in the quarter. Looking for space, it's Holmes. This time he doesn't get loose, and finally the defense gets him bottled up behind the line. So we open the final period with a 3rd down play. Looking to throw, it's Castellanos. Receiver wasn't ready for the throw, incomplete.
Great job by the defense dialing up some pressure on 3rd down. They hit the quarterback and forced the incompletion.
So here we are on 4th down, and this field goal kicker is going to face all the pressure in the world.
That's a big drive for this offense in the 4th quarter. Now to take a 2-possession lead, you got the other offense where you want them. Now you get to rush the passer, make them pass a little bit more, and don't give up those big plays. You're in a really good spot now.
The drive starts from their own 25-yard line. They'll move the wide receiver. Quarterback flips it ahead quickly to the receiver. Really nice job to squirt his way up to the 31-yard line. The Golden Flashes with myriad options after that big pickup on 1st down. Motion from the back. 2nd down, he'll throw it. Grab near the marker. It's buried. A pickup of 5 marks it at the 36-yard line.
This is the moment for this offense to put a drive together. It doesn't matter what's happened up to the point of this game, but you're trailing right now. You've got to put some points up on the board. This is where all 11 guys need.
He gets it to the 31-yard line. A big play for this offense.
One of the things I love about this running back is his versatility. He's not just good running the football, but he can catch it as well, and he can make things happen with the ball in his hands. Nice job by the quarterback, getting through the progression, getting it out to his guy, and he does the rest, and that generates a huge play.
They make the stop, trying to pick up just a little bit at a time to get to that 1st down marker.
And I love when my quarterback sees zoned and knows exactly where to go with the football. Sees the wide receiver running the drag route, knows when to throw it, pulls the trigger for the easy completion.
Pulls and throws off the RPO. And the defense makes the immediate tackle, but he has enough for the 1st down.
Well, offensively, they knew they were going to have some matchups they could take advantage of in this one, and all of a sudden, this quarterback has now over 300 yards passing in the game. Defensively, David, he has got them on their heels.
And he's been showing you a little bit of everything. He can throw it all over the field to all different receivers, to his tight ends, to his running backs. Really has the ability to spread it around, and now over 300 yards. Still some time left, and he can put up even bigger numbers. And, heck, go chase some awards, man. Get some postseason awards. Get an All-American. Just put up a day.
He just threw it away. The last thing you want to do is try to force something on 1st down in the red zone. After getting nothing, it's 2nd and goal from the 6. Looking to fire. Buying some time. Got it in the middle. It's buried. Touchdown, Golden Flashes! And they add 6 more to the board with that trip to the house. He has been surgical. Precision has it. Using the scalpel, the fine instrument rather than the blunt one.
And the defense has had absolutely no answer for it. Just, he's been down their throats all game long, a step ahead, understanding what he's seeing, and just destroying this defense.
Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. They come to the line for the first play of the drive, snapping it from the 21. Back to throw, it's Castellanos. Fires to the big fella. They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there, and still a little ground cover to pick up the first.
Nice quick throw there. It's so important for quarterbacks to be able to find a rhythm and to be comfortable and confident. You want to just get the ball out quickly, make it an accurate and easy throw. And you can tell that these two guys, they rep that play in practice all the time, and it's now showing up here on game day.
Off the RPO, fire right, trying to convert. Love to see these third down conversions on offense, and they're out to their own 39-yard line.
This guy's done a lot of good things early this year throwing the football. With that last completion, that now takes him over 1,000 yards passing for the year.
Caught in the backfield. It's Robinson. Oh, he's getting ahead of steam. He'll step out of bounds just short of midfield. They'll mark it at the 49 after a good pickup on that play. And the Knowles come to the line. This situation, you might see a shot play. Looking for a chunk play on second and short. Caught in the backfield, it's Holmes. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play.
Third down coming.
They'll break out the Wildcat to try to move the chains. On the direct snap, it's Lucas. All kinds of room to the right. Running inside the 20. And he'll take it to the house. He got loose. Touchdown, Knowles.
I love the execution on that play. Great blocking up front just to get the ball carrier an opportunity in the second level of the defense. And then at that point, it was make a guy miss and use the speed. That was a perfectly executed play.
Let's go to the studio now and check in with Kevin Connors. Kevin, what do you got?
Very intriguing Big 12 matchup today, gentlemen. Here's a look at how it finished up. Texas Tech was able to squeak one out in front of those home fans in Lubbock. In fact, I think in the end, the difference may have been Red Raider Nation, who will enjoy this win. Just another week in the Big 12 where anything can happen on any given Saturday. As we send things back to you guys.
Kevin, thanks a lot for that one. Sounds as if they had a good one there. Going for the big play. Holds it in on the left. Off and running. Touchdown, Kent State. He broke away from the defense and they couldn't catch him.
If I'm a play caller nowadays, man, I want more guys like this. Just versatility. You can see he can catch it out of the backfield like a wide receiver, or he can run it. Nice job catching the football with his hands, using his speed to do the rest and get into the end zone.
And in that scramble, they're going to come out of there with the football, and they get the onside kick and take possession right back. First snap of this drive will come from the 46. Wants to adjust the pattern.
Razor. Go. Terrier.
Wants to throw on first down. Buys a little time with his feet. And not much going on downfield. He'll just get rid of it and live to play another down.
And that goes down as incompletion, but that's a smart play. And the QB coach and the OC will be very happy with the decision of the quarterback. He got outside the pocket. He obviously he's outside the tackle boxes. He knew he could throw it away as long as he got it past the line of scrimmage. Nothing there, nothing open. Live to fight another down.
Fires to the tight end. He gets it up to midfield, forced out of bounds at the 50.
Important in the passing game that it's not just receivers doing all the work. You got to get running backs involved. You got to get your big fellas. You got to get the tight ends going too.
They'll try to move the chains on this 3rd and long from the 50. From the gun, wants to pass. Caught, close to the marker, it's Berry. This freshman quarterback is slinging it out there to pick up that first down.
Yeah, and Palmer, I don't know what his grade's going to be, but hitting over 400 yards on the day, I think coaches are going to be pretty impressed with the day this young man had.
No doubt. And I think for defensive coordinators moving forward now, you're going to be charged with having to find answers to try to slow this guy down. Today, we've seen this defense try blitzing, zone coverage, man coverage. They've mixed up personnel. None of it has worked. This guy has carved them apart.
Clock stops. We have reached the 2-minute timeout, and the offense is looking for a play to close this deal out. Working well behind the sticks on 2nd down. Little touch pass to the receiver. Stopped in the backfield. He's going to lose 3 yards on the play. It would be nice to pick up a few yards on 3rd down because from here, it's a 57-yard attempt. Might be changing the route. Wants to throw again. Looking deep. It's caught. Gets it all the way inside the 20-yard line to the 19 before being hauled down.
Man, you hate that if you're on defense. 3rd and long, you've got everybody covered downfield, and you let the running back pick it up on a check down throw. You've got to be way better tackling in that situation. That is a blown opportunity for this defense.
And the Golden Flashes have it with a 1st and 10. The give to the right. He's going to lose a yard on that one.
Home crowd not going to love it. You got to throw the ball to win this game. They do not like the play call with not a lot of time left in the game.
They've got a solid drive working, but now looking at 2nd and 11. Looking to pass, and they don't have a lot of time to work with. He's got his man. Tackled almost immediately. They're well short of the 1st down. Timeout called by the offense. Clock stopped with 21 seconds left. Now facing a 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Using his feet to buy time. Got his man on the right. And he gets out of bounds to stop the clock as the offense moves closer, trying to pull it out.
And they've trusted their QB to throw the football. And he's going to have to make plays. He's made plays throughout the day. This is now when you come up clutch in a big moment when your team needs it. If that's any indication, I like what I'm seeing.
So now the opportunity to take the lead with a 1st and goal here. He'll take it himself. Touchdown, Golden Flashes! And they've moved out front here in the 4th.
And this is a running back, guys, that gets better as the game goes on. Here we are late in this one, and he's still breaking off big runs. Impressive, making people miss, showing you the speed. And that touchdown gives his team the lead.
And he knocks the extra point through the uprights. Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead. From inside the 10, here he comes. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. They'll snap it from the 20 for the opening play of this drive. Looking for a crease, it's Holmes. And on that short gain, that will bring us to the end of this game. Timeout is called with just a single second left. They've got to move quickly here. Still a chance, but they've got to force the ball down the field. These corners going to give them some space. He's going up top here late in the game. Hits him in stride at the 10. They make the stop, but that's going to do it here as time has expired, and that'll just serve to pad the stats. You want to talk about building confidence? Coming through with clutch plays, making the winning plays at the right time can really set the course for the rest of the season.
Yeah, Reese, maturity and experience matters, and this team has guys that have played a lot of snaps, they've seen a lot of looks, and they've lost close games like this in the past. That wasn't the case today, David. Too many guys out there making big-time plays.
And I think belief is what you build. That confidence, you know you're going to win. You don't think you're going to win. You know you're going to make that play in the big moment that continues to build on week-to-week success. And you look up and you're like, dang, we strung a couple wins together.
That will put the wrap on things from here. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis. You've been watching another presentation of EA Sports College Football.
it.